Hello, thank you for joining us. I am Frank Malape, and these are some of the stories we're filing at this time. Earlier, a federal high court in Abuja set a 2:30 p.m. time to rule on the bail application filed by former Adamawa State Governor Murtala Nyako and his son, Senator Abdulaziz Nyako. EFCC arranged the rule on a 37-count charge bordering on laundering public funds in excess of 40 billion naira. In the application, Nyako's lawyer Kanu Agabi urged the court to grant the accused bail on liberal terms. But prosecution counsel Rotimi Jacobs opposed the application on the grounds that the accused persons will jump bail. The trial judge, Justice Eva Chuko, subsequently adjourned for ruling. And our former Jigawa State Governor Sulela Amido, his two sons Aminu and Mustafa, and one Aminu Wada Abubakar, to remain in prison till September 28, 2015. The quartets were remanded in prison custody by Justice Evelyn Anyadiki of the Federal High Court in Kano after they were docked on a 28-count charge of corruption and money laundering brought against them by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. They were arraigned alongside four companies in which the Lamidos are believed to have interest. The companies are Baimaina Holdings Limited, Baimaina Company Nigeria Limited, Baimaina Aluminium Limited, and Speed International Limited. EFCC said in the charge sheet that former Governor Lamido have abused his position by awarding contracts to companies in which he has interests using his two sons as fronts. However, when the charges were read to the accused persons, they pleaded guilty, and the counsel Ofiang urged the court to consider granting the accused persons bail. And away from there now, a federal high court in Abuja has granted former governor of Imo State, Ikedi Ohakim, bail in the sum of 270 million naira. Delivering a ruling on bail application filed by Hakim's lawyer, Justice Adeni Ademola, ordered the ex-governor to produce one surety with a landed property within the court's jurisdiction. Justice Ademola also directed that Hakim deposit his international passport to the court registrar. Passport to the court registrar, and he subsequently adjourned the case till October 20 for trial.
The court has today granted him bail on very liberal terms, as we have asked the court to do, while the matter is now adjourned to 20th of October. Let us not talk beyond this point. We are satisfied with the bail conditions we are. We have also thanked the court for the liberal bail conditions.
The court has said that that every accused is presumed innocent until proven guilty. That is the only comment I will make now.
Yes.
The rest will be next time.
Now, the fresh 50 counts charge filed by the EFCC against former Bayelsa State Governor Timi Preo Silva came up for hearing on Thursday at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Silva has been charged alongside Francis Okokoro Benga Balogu and Samuel Ogbuko. They allegedly used three companies to launder over 19.2 billion from Bayelsa State coffers between 2009 and 2002. But the defense counsel wants Justice Adeni Ademola to dismiss the charges because they were based on same one dismissed by Justice Mohammed. Another defense counsel also filed a preliminary objection challenging the jurisdiction of the court. The FCC counsel Rotimi Jacobs, for his part, argued that the charges had not been read to the accused persons before the previous judge discharged the accused person. After listening to all the plea arguments, Justice Ademola also adjourned subsequently. And now the Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee has conferred the award of Senior Advocate of Nigeria and 21 lawyers out of 124 that applied. The Chief Registrar of the Supreme Court, Ahmed Gambo, announced the names of the awardees at a news conference in Abuja. He said out of 124 in applications received, 18 were selected under the category of advocate, while 3 were selected from the academic category. The news sends will the newly The newly elected son will be sworn in on September 21 by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mahmood Muhammad. And away from judicial matter now, President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday held a meeting with more permanent secretaries in continuation of his interaction with the administrative heads of ministries. A series of meetings are targeted at comparing handover notes from the Jonathan administration with the realities on ground. Some of the permanent secretaries gave an insight into the meeting with the president in an interview with State House correspondents.
They call inclusiveness, or they regard as being inclusive. The idea is to now, as we've been doing in the ministry, address what we call the skill gap of this country by having a skill assessment survey, because Nigeria is not short of employment for its use. It's just that the skills that we have are not fitting.
Yes. We have given the president an insight into how we conduct ourselves concerning the mainstreaming of rule of law in the country. As you know, rule of law is one of the cardinal policies of this administration. And we have given him a rundown on what we have been doing from 2011 until now.
Yeah, obviously the president is so committed to developing this country and is passionate about road because road is very central to the economic development of this country. And he confirmed that he'll look into that because if you know, for example, the multilateral support normally will have some moratorium period and then reasonable period for repayment, and the interest charge is almost 1%.
And now the West Africa Civil Society Forum has called on African leaders to block financial leakages in the continent in order to achieve the Millennium Development Goals. They also expressed worries over the increase in corruption in Africa, which has led to the deficit in meeting the MDGs. The right group wants African government to mobilize significant resources and ensure the effective use of finances.
New development framework is about our future, and we need the political will of these leaders to ensure that our future is well financed. We are also reminding them that we are going to be holding them accountable of every commitment that they are going to make with regards to the summit that is going to be held in Addis.
If African countries can block the leakages of the corruption that is going on in their countries, it is possible to finance development. Just take, for instance, in Nigeria alone, just in 1 year, over 1.7 trillion was given as a waiver, and these waivers were not necessarily needed. So if you can actually, utilize, taxation, and you use the tax for the development, you would have discovered that many countries in Africa would have actually do quite a lot without depending with aid.
And now Deputy Senate President Ike Kwemado has expressed concerns over the recent spike in Boko Haram attacks in some parts of northern Nigeria. He says if nothing serious is done, the insurgents might be emboldened to stage an attack in Abuja or make an incursion into southern Nigeria. Senator Ekwemadu made these concerns public at a brief interaction with National Assembly.
The actions of Boko Haram seems to have resurfaced. Now, not only in Borno, they have carried out their activities also in Plateau. They have gone to Adamawa. Lately, they were in Kaduna. And I'm worried that if nothing is done, the next target will be Abuja, and maybe they start going south. So it is important for us as those in government, whether executive or legislature, to come together to find a solution to this problem. So I'd like to use the opportunity to call on our friends, our neighbors, the international community to support Nigeria to ensure that we roll back the activities of Boko Haram.
And now, Nigeria Union of Teachers is concerned about the rate its members are affected by Boko Haram insurgency. It says 37 teachers died in recent bomb attack in Zaria to bring the total number of deaths in the hands of insurgents to 272. The union added that over 19,000 of its members have also been displaced. It also, against this backdrop, said that teachers want President Muhammad Buhari to go to greater lengths to curb insurgency. Our correspondent Helen Chooks has more from our studios.
Teachers chanting the union slogan just before the event. But the fanfare ends almost immediately as the union declared that it was a low-key anniversary, given the serious challenges confronting the nation. Aside from unpaid salaries, the teachers are concerned about national security. NUT President Michael Olukoya says more than 50 teachers were killed in the recent Zaria bomb attack.
Almost on a daily basis, which is indicative of the grim reality that the callous attacks and spree of bloodletting by the insurgents is still daunting. As teachers who are saddled with the responsibility of giving care and molding the character of children to become useful persons in the society, we feel pained and demoralized to note that the barbaric art of terror has sculpted and destroyed talents, potentials, and life of our Chibok girls and thousands of other children in the northeast of Nigeria. It remains an unforgettable experience that over 19,000 teachers were displaced, while no fewer than 272 teachers lost their life to the atrocious activities of Boko Haram only in Borno State.
For a group that has over time borne the brunt of months of unpaid salaries, it is impressed with the direction of the present administration, especially in the bailout intervention. The union, however, is not comfortable with teachers' salaries in the hands of the local government councils.
However, as a union, we wish to use this opportunity to draw the attention of the President of President Buhari to our age-long fears and concerns about the capability of local government council and the political will of their leaders to pay salaries of primary school teachers in the country, given the history of total failure of the council to carry out this responsibility in the past.
But in spite of this and other challenges, union members rate the Nigerian teacher high.
With obstacles, we are breaking through. Nothing to regret so far, because that's what we signed to do.
When you look at in terms of welfare of teachers, not all over the country, most of the states in the country, we have recorded a lot of achievement in the area of our own field and also in the area of development and welfare packages for our members.
The teachers say the union has a lot to celebrate as it marks its 84th anniversary, but they are prepared for a showdown with states which fail to meet their obligations.
After March Tuesday's twin bombings in Jos City, some Irish youth went on rampage burning churches within that vicinity where the bombs went off. This was made known to journalists by the police commissioner Nasir Oki, although no life was lost in the church attacks. He referred to the incident as senseless because the bombers were certainly not from those churches. The Irish youth were said to have embarked on wanton destruction of properties and looting.
Aware of people killed because of the pressure attack, but I knew 2 churches were bombed by Irish mobs, which actually is total nonsense, because there was no need for it to start burning churches. After we have lost people, lost property, then we still go to other churches to go and start burning it.
When the governor of the state, Simon Lalong, visited the burned churches, members took time to lament the persecution that they had to face from their neighbors of the other religion. The governor admonished the people to be law-abiding and give thanks to God that no life was lost in the church attack.
This is what has happened to us. This church has been here over 80 years. Look at what they have done. That one before, this one now. The other one, look at it. You don't want us to worship again? Hi. We thank God that no death. No death.
alive. This one can always be done. But all our prayer is that he came out alive. If he didn't come out alive, we will not be this week. So we thank God. It's an unfortunate thing. Nobody knew why he came like this.
Yes.
We thought that the whole thing was over.
Right. Yes.
And all of us.
This morning we are thanking God.
So keep on thanking God that it ended this week.
You're watching CoreTV News at 4. We'll take a break now. We'll be back shortly with more stories. Do join us again.
Love God have naked. That's a sign of protest, saying that things are not good.
Women share the most amazing thoughts.
When it's close to the time, our people will protest
on national issues.
That was their own point.
That was an accident. That is different.
And to do it.
Politics is about being a servant.
Passionately.
Without a woman, there will be no success at all.
Sharing the adorable word of women.
There are some women who have what it takes.
In politics.
Margaret Thatcher, Iron Lady. When she's too soft, she's too soft.
Only on CoreTV News.
This is CoreTV News at 4, live from our Lagos studios. For more information on our news and other programs, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can also as well follow at CoreTV News NG. For live streaming now, log on to youtube.com/CoreTV. Give a space, the news. As Nigeria strives to contain the renewed spate of Boko Haram attacks in parts of the country, the chairman of the Lagos State chapter of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Alexandro Bangbola, says unity of purpose across religious and ethnic divide is required in the fight against insurgents. Speaking alongside the former prelate of the Methodist Church of Nigeria, Olamakide, on the sidelines of the 2015 Peaceful Transition Thanksgiving service at the Chapel of Christ, the Light, Bangbola urged Nigerians to support the renewed vigor of the federal government at winning the war against Boko Haram.
Without God, man can do nothing. We are crying unto God. The Christians are crying unto God, and I know the Muslims are crying unto God. And God will answer our prayers. This nation will rise and be counted in the committee of nations, spiritually, physically, financially, materially, economically, in the name of Jesus Christ. We're just going through trials for a moment.
Now, he has started with the insurgency very well, but I'm just praying he should pray very well to sustain the success he has achieved, to pray for wisdom to sustain the success he has achieved, to manage the success, because that's very, very important, very, very important, so that he can work for eradicate unemployment and kill insecurity, and then make sure there is life abundance for people who voted him. It should not disappoint Nigerians.
And now, as part of effort aimed at commemorating the one-year nest or exit of human rights lawyer Bamidele Aturu, human rights activists and legal practitioners have asked for a social change in Nigerian politics and administration. This was the resolve of those who were gathered at one-year memorial lecture to remember him. He also called for a decisive resolution of the crisis of leadership currently rocking the National Assembly. Correspondent Olajumoke Olatoji, who was at the University of Ibadan, venue of the lecture, filed this report.
July 2014, the legal profession and indeed the human rights community lost one of its brightest lights, Bamidele Aturu. Today, exactly a year after, his friends and admirers in both the legal profession and the human rights community have gathered at the University of Ibadan for a memorial lecture to remember him. The guest speaker of the lecture theatre, the Faculty of Law, Chidi Odikalo, while appreciating the personality of the late Aturu, says he's a worthy example for young students in the quest for social justice.
Democracy is too important to be left to lawyers, judges, and politicians alone. There is the urgent need for the emergence of a new attitude in civil society that balances the link between knowledge and action. The time has come for our peoples to play the historic role of making Africa truly democratic. That role cannot be played by making pious declarations or by merely criticizing power holders, but by using all lawful means. All lawful means to engage and contest for power.
A friend and colleague of the late Aturu Malaki Igbume expresses his concern at the level of impunity and immaturity currently on display at the National Assembly. He, however, called for a change of attitude from all parties to the crisis.
Bamidele's notion about the law and then his vision for this country. He was sincerely committed to the ideals that we take the law practice in this country beyond what the law is at the moment, or, to what it ought to be.
Bamidele Aturu studied law at the University of Ife and devoted much of his legal practice to representing marginalized and oppressed individuals and groups. Olajumo Kelat, the CoreTV News, Ibadan.
And now the Rivers State Government Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja on Thursday reaffirmed it as party order made on June 11, 2015, granting permission to the All Progressive Congress and its candidate in the April 11, 2015 governorship election in the state, Dakuku Peterside, to reinspect the electoral materials used for the poll. Peterside and the APC had on May 3, 2015 filed their petition before the tribunal to challenge the victory of the People's Democratic Party and its candidate Nyesom Wike in the poll. The Justice Mozo Pinga led tribunal in a ruling on Thursday dismissed Wike's application asking for the setting aside of the June 11, 2015 order. Wike had argued that the tribunal's order was wrongly made and asked that the tribunal alternatively allow its agent to participate in the inspection to be undertaken by the petitioners. He also asked the tribunal to vary the order in such a manner that the petitioners would not be allowed to make copies of some of the materials. The PDP supported Wike's application, while the Independent National Electoral Commission said it will await the outcome of the application to decide whether or not to obey the order for inspection. And away from there now, the governor of Plateau State, Simon Lalong, has gone back on his word not to dissolve the local government councils in the state. While speaking with the directors of personnel who he ordered to take over from the chairman, he charged them to place security as their priority. Lalong spoke on the backdrop of the recent bomb attacks in Jos and perennial communal clashes that has crippled farming activities in the rural areas of the state.
Governor Lalong, whose major part of his campaign was hinged on the vow that he would not dissolve the local government administrations, shocked the entire state residents. His supporters and opponents alike expressed their dissatisfaction when he announced the dissolution and sacking of the local government chairman, who he ordered to hand over to the director of personnel at their councils. He stated that one of the major reasons for the dissolution of the local government councils is financial impropriety and that the local government bosses in the state were not acting in good faith.
That transition committee was bring out an interim report about what was happening in the council. After that, I traveled out. The chairman of the council were with me. They placed their cooperation, they placed everything. And I also made it clear that it's not our intention to go on dissolution, but it's also premise on their cooperation. But when we went out, different thing was happening behind us. Legal suits, authorization to banks and so on. And so we came out, we realized that those people were not acting in good faith.
The governor stated that although some people might not be pleased with the latest development, if change must be effected, it has to start from the grassroots, and so working with the local government chairman might impede the desired change.
While we open up our minds, open up our hearts to them on their part, they were not ready to cooperate. We are talking of change. We are talking of change on the plateau. And if we carry the change, that change must also get to the grassroots. In other words, our intention is to create sanity at that level. Serious sanity. That's what Mr. President said.
The governor charged directors of personnel who were appointed by the former PDP administration and are now taking over the administration of the local government councils in the state to make the issues of security their primary focus. He reminded them that their loyalty is expected to be to the government of the day.
Will not be discouraged. That is why the mantle of leadership that is given to you at local government is also to ensure that you will work seriously to secure your local government. Issue of security will not be taken lightly.
And now, oil spillage in Ohaji, Egbema, one of the oil-producing communities in Imo State, southeast Nigeria, has subjected its locals to hardship as most of the valuables were destroyed. Residents of the area said they can't wait to see the government come to the raid with necessary materials. Correspondent Ajibada Officer has details in this report.
The visit to the area by the Deputy Governor of Imo State, Eze Madumere, shows a deplorable condition. The people, who are mostly farmers and fishermen, said they have nothing left as the only water they rely on has been greatly devastated.
Information that we received, we find the situation, the facts on the ground. And I have seen is believing. Not only the water that is at this basin, I went to a couple of sites, and I went coming here. I saw that the river is polluted. I saw evidence of crude oil floating all over the place. That is an evidence. We should remain calm and channel all your issues through the government, and we must get it right.
Eze Madumere assures the entire community of rapid response by the government to ensure they are comforted. Prince Okafo, the Managing Director, Imo State Oil Producing Area Development Commission, said the ultimate need of the people at this moment is potable water, and the commission is working round the clock to ensure the people get that.
And we still need to do more. We still need to provide more potable water for people, because we can't achieve all this in this short while. But I also want to say that 4 days ago, that some of the what we call the monopump in some communities around this place that were damaged, the monopump were damaged. So we have sent in our local engineer to go there and fix some of them. I think by now some of them will be working by now. I mean, functional one, but I can't tell you we have not sunk any new borehole within these 10 days.
Some of the residents said the spillage was as a result of an explosion of one of the pipelines somewhere around River State. They suspect the activities of vandals around the axis.
Now that pollution, that is the fire, we are born for Ibocha side. Now it comes spoil our water here. Now it come damage everything, even fish, they die. Even the people who get fish pond here, no one they kill again, the fish they die. So that is why we invite you people to come and see it.
No
anything we take here.
No drinking water.
No drinking water. My fish, everything.
All right. Since that 4 or 5 days now, there's no single fish out of 120,000 worth of fishes. All have died. Please, we need assistance and to help us.
The water bodies surrounding the community is the major source of livelihood to most of them. And these, they said, have been taken over by crude oil spillage, killing all the fishes and rendering the water useless to both plants and animal, calling for a quick fix solution from the government. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
Chairman Board of Niger Delta Development Commission, Basi Ewahensho, has appealed to Governor Adams Oshiomhole to intervene on behalf of the Commission so that the funds due to the board can be released. While appealing to the Governor, he said the Commission has not been funded according to law since 2001, and over 800 billion naira has not been remitted.
The board chairman, accompanied by other members on the visit to Edo State Governor, maintained that the board can create business opportunities and employment opportunities for the people, according to the vision of the Commission, which is to integrate and develop the Niger Delta sub-region through strategic intervention and key infrastructure development. road, rail, and education. This, he says, would change the negative perception others have of the Niger Delta people.
We are not unaware of the negative perceptions of the NDDC in the minds of the public, but as a board, we have come determined to change that. Thus, we have awarded hundreds of overseas scholarships in the sciences, built hundreds of kilometers of roads, completed several university hostels, all of which were started over 10 years ago, but also, importantly, because you are uniquely positioned now to be a strong bridge between the South-South, the Niger Delta, and the federal government.
Governor Adams Oshomole, welcoming the guests, assured that the Niger Delta will benefit immensely from the government of President Muhammadu Buhari. He advised the state commissioners on the NDDC board to ensure that the views they canvass reflect the expectations of the people of their states.
The fact of living in an oil-rich region has meant that our people have had to cope with crisis of pollution of the waterways, affecting fishermen, affecting farmers, pollution of the land, of the air, that has huge implications for even future generation. And it is a lot of the board as an intervention agency to try to dig through all of these challenges and fashion out specific areas of intervention that will impart the quality of life of the people. All that is expected is that the Federal Ministry of Finance, or to be more specific, the federal government, ought to ensure that the laws that they have passed and signed that are in operation, that those laws are enforced to the letter, so that they in turn can compel the board to ensure that those funds are judiciously applied.
The governor further said one of the major weaknesses observed in the running of the commission is that it has been over-politicized.
And now traffic to and from Abeokuta through E4 in Ifa local government area of Ogun State was on Thursday morning brought to a standstill as tipper lorries blocked both sides of the road to protest the alleged killing of a woman by mobile policemen doing stop and search on the busy stretch of the road. CoreTV News' Mayokwa Potarabo was on the road filing this report presented from our studios.
Traffic, according to eyewitnesses, came to an halt after the policemen rammed the patrol vehicle into a commercial vehicle while trying to apprehend the vehicle, killing the woman who was a passenger in the bus. A tipper, according to eyewitnesses' account, was also involved in the accident as it allegedly tried to avoid running into both the police patrol vehicle and the commercial bus. Tipper drivers later blocked the expressway as a sort of protest against the alleged recklessness of the police.
Hey, the camera! Why are you videoing us now? Who is videoing you? Look at your camera. I was videoing the event now. You can drive your vehicle like this. I don't drive them.
For this eyewitness in Ayede, the sleepy settlement where the accident occurred, the police are solely to blame.
I want to tell me them they said that police and was commercial bus there. So they'll kill somebody there. And they're here now. They're not sorting anything. When the police decided to be shooting gun up and down, but I don't know what's happening. Look at them now. The way they do everything.
For order to be restored, mobile policemen who came to clear the traffic were also alleged to have fired not only canisters of tear gas, but live rounds to disperse the tipper drivers who had blocked both sides of the expressway. Some residents of the area who declined to go on record say the police also killed 2 other people in the same manner a few days earlier. They say this is becoming a regular thing, calling on appropriate authorities to address the issue. CoreTV News crew was also harassed by the mobile policemen drafted to the scene.
And now away from Ogun State to Kwara, where thousands of Okada riders stormed the state government house to protest the unlawful arrest of their colleagues and the alleged illegal levies imposed by the Kwara Road Traffic Management Authority, while also demanding the dissolution of the Traffic Management Agency. Our correspondent, Rashid, has more.
The Okada riders who had before coming to the state government house stormed the office of the Kwara State Traffic Management Agency. From there, the protest train moved to the government house where the protesters showed their displeasure with what they described as the anti-people practices of the agency. They also called for the scrapping of the agency, but not before hurling abuses at its management. For this Okada rider, Adebowale Okunla, the operations of Kwatma is outrightly inhumane. He added that operatives of the agency will arrest an Okada man for no just cause, charging them as much as 5,000 naira.
They have been arresting us too much, without nothing. If they arrest one of, if they arrest one of our members now, at least 10,000. Imagine, it's too much. It's too much. How much we are seeing? We beg this Kwara State government at least to have mercy on us. When they cancel all this Kwara State, Kwatma traffic school body.
And in the words of this Okada man who spoke in Yoruba, the state government should do more to regulate the activities of the agency and its operatives. After some minutes of protest outside the gates of the government house, leaders of the riders were called into the inner recess of the government house for negotiation. With the meeting over, Chief Executive of Kwatma, Yekini Babatunde, who briefed the newsmen, denied all allegations against the agency.
You see, a lot of speculation are outside there. In as much as what they are accusing our men of is extortion. But when you look at the way they are saying the extortion here and there, I will not subscribe to that collecting 10,000 because any amount you are paying as a fine to Kwatma Post, you pay it into First Bank account. The moment you see any of my men extorting anywhere, please call my number and I will send surveillance and provost to go and arrest the situation there.
He, however, stated the ground rules for the operation of Okadas in the state. These rules, according to him, include that no Okada rider can carry more than one passenger, cutting of motorcycle handles, and bending of number plates.
Yes, I have told them, every one of them, you see, I told them you should not alter manufacturer specification of motorcycles. You don't bend the hand, you don't reduce the size of the hand, you don't put MP on it, you don't change, you don't bend the chassis, you don't have your headlamp to be looking here up.
Yekini Babatunde, however, says the agency will continue to operate within the ambits of the law, irrespective of intimidation from any quarters. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
You're still watching CoreTV News at 4. We'll take another break now. We're back with stories outside Nigeria and in sports shortly.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to our husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Also, some people will strong for Yoruba land, will be strong man. We don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
And outside Nigeria now, 5 airports in Indonesia have been shut, including the tourist hotspot Bali, because of a volcanic eruption, as Mount Raung in East Java has been spewing ash into the air for nearly a week, obscuring visibility at Bali's Denpasar airport. Many flights between Bali and Australia have been cancelled, stranding travelers, and a spokesperson for state airport operator Anggaskar Pura said that Denpasar would be closed until at least 2030 local time. However, Indonesian Transport Ministry official Jabarata said the reopening of the airport will be based on Mount Raung activity, as it's not an explosive eruption, just a constant stream, and because the summit is so high, it doesn't take much as ash to interfere with flights. And in sports now, Ghana striker and captain Asamoah Gyan has completed his move to the Chinese Super League side Shanghai Sift from Al Ain in the United Arab Emirates. The 29-year-old signed a 2-year deal, which has an option for renewal after completing a routine medical, as exact terms of the deal were not disclosed. But local media have reported he would be earning in excess of $250,000 per week. During 4 years with Al Ain, he scored 95 times in 83 appearances and won 3 domestic league titles, as well as being top scorer in the Arabian Gulf League 3 times. Gyan's arrival marks the latest big money signing in China, where the top clubs have splashed out millions of dollars on high-profile players such as Demba and Polio. Well, and that's a wrap on CoreTV News at 4 minutes. Thanks for watching. I am Frank Homalape. I'll see you again.